Welcome to Business Express for a Thursday, the 4th of August, 2022. And we're very, very excited to share some very big business stories with you. Of course, we'll be looking at OPEC Plus, the decision made yesterday with regards Nigeria's increased production. Also, the price of cement keeps increasing. We'll talk more about it on the program today. I'm not alone. We've got Rotus in. Good morning, Rotus.
Hey, good morning, Victor. Good morning to all our viewers. Good morning to our special guests from Stanbic IBTC as well.
That's right. Always a pleasure having you on the show every time discussing business Rotus. Also, Olayinka Adesina, Cement and Infrastructure Analyst, Stanbic IBTC is in with us. Hi, Adesina. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Rotus. Good morning, listeners at home.
Thank you very much. Quickly, there are several ways to be part of the show. One is via WhatsApp, 0809-4440-981. Leave a message. We'll try to take your comments before the end of the show at 6:45. You can also reach us via Twitter, Smooth981FM. And we're streaming live on YouTube, Smooth981FM Lagos. All right? That's how you can be part of the show today. Rotus, let's get it started.
Yeah, I just want to throw it to Yinka. The price movements... cements. Yinka, if you can take us through the, I guess, price trend. It looks like it's been trending upwards. How have you seen things on your end?
Yeah, so thanks, Rotus. Thanks for the question. I think to start with, for the price of cement, truly it has been trending upward. But to start with, we can start our view from 2021. When we look at the cement market in 2021, demand was very strong. The cement companies were all selling large volumes into the market. So with that strong demand, it was obvious that demand was strong and they were able to push on price increases. Since 2021, I think from the first quarter of 2021, we've been seeing quarter-on-quarter price increase, but a new trend has occurred in 2022. Somewhat prices have remained flattish, and this could be linked to some suggestions that demand growth could be slowing in the market. So what we are seeing in the market basically for now is still the strong price increase we saw in 2021, making cement price in Nigeria remain elevated. For 2022 in general, prices have been somewhat flattish. Yeah, so that's the trend we've seen for the cement sector.
Okay, so does that, well, if it's flat, then that means players will be impacted if volumes are not what they were in the prior year. So, because I was thinking since prices were moving up, it would have helped them if their volumes were down. So how is the price trend impacting players in the sector?
Yeah, so that price trend has been supportive for them. We just had our earnings season recently. The three major players, Dangote, Lafarge, and BUA, released their numbers last week. I think Dangote Cement was on Monday this week. All three recorded revenue growth, and that revenue growth was largely driven by price increase. The good thing is that the price increases we saw in 2021, for 2022, we should see the full impact of it for the full year, because when you look at 2021, it was on a quarter-on-quarter basis. So from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, you were increasing prices. To now, prices should stay elevated compared to where they were in the first half of 2021. So on that premise, revenue growth was strong for all three players. I think the pressure we are seeing on the side of volume is that volumes may be coming down. We've seen insight to Dangote's numbers, and volume is obviously down for them. I think it was down about 7%, but still on the back of this strong pricing, revenues were up for all three companies.
They're enjoying themselves in the cement sector. They are very definitely. So, what about inflation? Does inflation is there any conversation around inflation and how it's impacting prices? You know, as you said, they're flat. So where does inflation fit in here?
Yeah, I think inflation is a major driver. So when we look at inflation, for them, it comes through cost of production. So the cost of production has been rising. As we know, the energy price in line with crude oil prices globally has risen. For them, also you have distribution costs going up as diesel prices and for the average man even has been elevated. So all this inflationary pressure has been impacting them. We've seen cost increase for them. So I think for cement companies generally, it's a question of margins. They should be looking to preserve margins. So if this inflationary pressure continue to persist, we could see them start to consider price increases, but with volumes also being something to consider right now. We may not see that much of price increase in the market, but yes, inflation also affects or could also be the major driver behind this price increase.
Great stuff. Nigeria's housing deficits. We've been throwing around this 17 million units deficit for years, and surely that number has to have grown. And what a lot of people ask, especially our listeners, how can a nation with these massive cement players that are enjoying so many profits, how can we still have such a large housing gap? Perhaps there are other factors to consider, but the idea is that, okay, so much cement, you should be able to use it to build these houses and close the gap. How do you see that matter?
Yeah, I think, yes, it's true we have big cement producers, but even at the current level of production and utilization of these cement producers, it's obvious they're not producing as much as Nigeria should demand. I think when you look at Nigeria's consumption of cement on a per capita basis, it's still lower than countries like South Africa, not to talk about the developed nations of the world. So obviously, I think we don't yet have that full capacity to produce what should drive us to what should take us to what we need for the infrastructure level. But on this front, I think that's why we've started seeing major players like BUA and Danxe continue to invest in capacity continue to invest in capacity. I think over the next 2 years, we should be seeing about 6 to 9 metric tons of new capacity per annum coming into the market. So obviously, we need to increase capacity when it comes to our production of cement in the country.
What's the outlook for the cement? I guess for that, the industrialized those players, the cement players. The infrastructure needs of the country, is that a driver for them going forward? What's the outlook, I guess, for the rest of this year, going into next year and so on?
Yeah, I think for this year, looking at things in the short-term business, in the near term, as I said earlier, demand was very strong in 2021. Players in the industry have linked that to the low interest rates and the free cash in the economy that supported real estate. But now we are seeing interest rates increase and we are seeing inflationary pressure in the economy, which is affecting the average man. So this is somewhat affecting demand. So I think in the near term, we could see some pressure when it comes to volume for cement sales. But in the long run, definitely, as you mentioned, the infrastructure gap is significant. So in the long run, cement producers are well positioned. They increase their capacity. They should also be able to increase volume sales on the back of this infrastructure gap. So in the long run, I think the outlook is largely positive, but in the near term, maybe some pressure to start with.
And just to follow up, how does any of this, does this support the real estate sector? I think you just mentioned real estate a moment.
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah, I think lower cement prices should support the real estate. But what I was saying is that in 2021, where we saw interest rates low, the intention for the average man is to move that money instead of investing it or saving it, is for him to push that money into real estate. So once you have low interest rates in an economy, most times you see people investing in real estate, buildings and the like. So that's basically what drove cement sales for last year.
Great stuff. Do you have any stocks that you like in the sector?
Yeah, for the sector, I think our most preferred stock will remain Danksem. Danksem remains the major player in the industry. Nigeria, I think it has about 60% market share. So we have a buy recommendation on Danksem. Looking at Lafarge, we like Lafarge based off its non-operation side. When you look at things like the tax rates, it's lower this year. So we expect it to benefit on that front. And also, they are also deleveraging. So interest expense should reduce for them. So that should also impact positively profitability. For Bois Cement, we have a sell, which is largely a valuation play. I think Bois Cement is the fastest growing amongst all three. But in terms of valuation, comparing it to other players in terms of things like PE, and that's to price to earnings, that's the reason why we have it on a sell. So it's just a valuation play for us. That's why we have Bois Cement on a sell. But Danksem is our preferred pick, which is a buy.
All right, let's quickly look at some of the messages. Yes, we have this one in from Ogenel Chuko. He says, I wish we'll have more firms producing cement. Seems like these three enjoy monopoly status. That is why they are turning up normal profit. Government should create needed environment for other producers to invest in this critical sector. Jewel is in. I think the migration of Nigerians outside the country contributes significantly to the price drop in cement.
Oh. Inka, what are your thoughts?
The migration of Nigerians. Well, I don't really have a thought on that, but I think we need more players. We need more capacity in the industry. So yeah, that's a good one. More capacity is good for the economy. Largely, more supply, lower prices. Competition is good.
Can we quickly touch on oil? OPEC Plus yesterday decided that they would increase capacity by just 100,000 barrels per day, I think for September. Really, really low. And they're saying that's a slap in the face to the Biden administration since Biden went to Saudi Arabia and was trying to get them to produce more. So what do you make of, for Nigeria and our own quota, which we have not been meeting, what does that mean for us?
Yeah, I think to start with, for OPEC generally, I think expectation was that production quota may not be increased before. And this was largely due to the fact that OPEC, as it is currently, is not producing as much as it said it would produce. I think the production cuts they had in 2020, they've not been able to return most of that volumes back into the market. So when you look at the likes of Angola and Nigeria, we are way below our production quota. So OPEC as a whole has not been meeting its production quota. So they even increasing that production quota, I don't think it will impact the current supply into the markets, because you have a production quota you're not meeting already and you're increasing your production quota. So that's not very much positive in my own view. Looking at Nigeria, as you mentioned, we've not been meeting our production quota. I think production quota is about 1.68 thereabouts. With this new 100,000, it should also increase. But we are producing about 1.2 million barrels per day. So I don't see it's been any positive for us. I think it's still for us to improve things on our own side when it comes to security and when it comes to infrastructure. And this will be the major drivers for our own production locally.
Thanks. So less than a minute to go. Can you quickly touch on oil theft and how its impact? I think I just saw a headline from this day newspaper that one of the head of the NLNG saying that even gas is being impacted, gas production for NLNG, which is the collaboration between those oil and gas firms and the government in terms of interest. How are you seeing the oil theft impact on oil and gas?
Yeah, oil theft is a major driver for our low production. And I think the impact on the gas is that most times this gas production is associated with oil production. So when you have downtime for major pipelines to export oil, you'd also have it impacting gas production in the country. So yeah, as the oil producers are suffering, NNG is also expected to suffer because it will impact its operations too. Oil theft, basically these guys bunker the pipelines, and that's where we are seeing vandalism and the likes affecting the industry. So yeah, oil theft, till we are able to fix that, I think our production will continue to suffer in the near term.
All right, Yinka Bolu is in with this message. Bois Cement, Lafarge, Dangote. Are there any competition with prices between these three, or they are just cashing out over our heads? Because if there was any competition, then the prices should be low. but like it's gonna impact. It's gonna have impact on rents anyways. With that, we wrap things up here. Thank you very much for being a part of the show today. Thanks, Yinka Adesina. It was a brilliant conversation. We look forward to more conversations with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Rotus, thank you very much. We keep the conversation going on Twitter. It's Smooth91 FM, Rotan quote as well. Tag Stanbic IBTC in, and let's keep it going. All right, 7:30 will be time for Freshly Pressed. My name is Pepple. Good morning.